You've been watching tape of Lenore Sellers over the last couple of days.
I have. I've watched. I want to watch all of it. I'm going to give later in the week, I'll give like a real detailed breakdown of Lenore Sellers and some of the South Carolina. But I have watched the South Carolina Kentucky tape in detail, both offense and defense. And first of all, Kentucky. I texted y'all yesterday, like, who's this quarterback for Kentucky? This is brutal tape. Offensive coordinator, brutal. So that game was pretty close. So I think, what did the score end up being? Like 35-10, I believe. That game was actually pretty close in the second quarter. It was a pretty back and forth game. South Carolina ran single high safety. There's a backup quarterback playing for Kentucky. Cutter Boley? Is that right? Classic. Cutter Boley was a quarterback.
I couldn't even told you that.
Yeah, so he was a quarterback for Kentucky. They ran the ball probably 90% of the time in the first half. South Carolina, and I noticed this last year playing. I watched a lot of the South Carolina Clemson game leading up to the Clemson game this year for LSU. They do like to play a lot of really aggressive in the secondary, so a lot of single high safety. And against Kentucky, against a backup quarterback that wasn't great in the passing game, they ran single high safety probably 98% of the time. However, Kentucky, good running team. They were still able to move the ball a little bit. Early in the game, no, in the second quarter, actually, Kentucky is up 10-7. And then in the matter of 3 plays, USC scores 14 points on 2 turnovers. 1 fumble, sack, fumble, touchdown, 1 and pick 6 for a touchdown in the matter of 3 different plays. And all of a sudden, I mean, it goes from a 10-7 lead for Kentucky, playing the kind of game they wanted to, running the ball, to a 21-10 deficit, and they just never could climb out of it. South Carolina, they make some plays. They're not particularly great on offense or defense, I don't think. This is based on one game. Now, they could have had an off game. Like, Lenore Sellers made some plays. Let me tell you, he is a strong dude. Like, that is a kid you better wrap up, and it better be tackled by committee, because that's the one thing that he does really well. Of course, we all kind of know. We've seen it firsthand. Like, he scrambles and he breaks tackles. From a play in the quarterback position, he doesn't have great footwork in the pocket. He's not exceptionally accurate. He can make throws. That's not to say he's not going to make good throws, but as a just playing the standard quarterback position, doesn't seem like the biggest threat to me. Now, it's the off-schedule stuff, him breaking, he makes these big plays, he's breaking 2, 3, 4 tackles in the backfield. So, when you get a shot at him, you better big boy him. You better not go in there timid, and you better grab a hold of any part of his body you can get. Ankles, shoes, shirt, helmet, horse collar, whatever it is. I don't know. But, you better.
Horse collars ability.
Well, that's better than breaking off for about an 80-yard touchdown. But that's the one thing that really sticks out. And he does. He'll make some really good throws, but from a footwork standpoint, he's a little bit happy foot in the pocket, gets confused a little bit if you bring some untraditional looks, but he always has that ace up his sleeve, man. He can always break out. But LSU's proven this is not a new situation for LSU's defense, going against a quarterback that can play off schedule, make plays with his legs. So it'll be a really good matchup. It'll be a fun matchup. They don't run this fastball tempo stuff that you see with Ole Miss. So I expect the LSU's defense to create a lot of confusion. I expect them to get Harold Perkins in the right spot to play that spy technique that we know and love from Harold Perkins. So I think this will be a really fun matchup for Blake Baker and the gang. I see them flying around. I see them getting back to now against Ole Miss. Of course, we had to be a little bit more vanilla because of that speed ball, that tempo, that fast pace. It's just you can't get to a lot of complicated defenses, and you can't always get the perfect defense called at the right time that you want to, or you can't switch personnel and get fresh guys in and play kind of the tempo of the ball that you want to. But I think this week kind of changes that. I'm watching this Kentucky game, and I'm trying to find like the dangerous parts on South Carolina, and I just haven't come across it yet. Besides Lenore Sellers being able to break 1,000 tackles.
Yeah, look, he's not really had weapons over the last couple of years. He's had guys that are really good athletes. He's had guys that are on Bruce Feldman's freak list. Nick Harbor has been on there 3 times already in his college career. But it's like, okay, like he's super athletic and he can make, a play here or there, but consistently, no, he's not what you need if you're Lenore Sellers at the quarterback position. So when you've watched tape so far, do you think South Carolina's better on offense or better on defense in the totality of the year?
I've watched the one tape, and playing a Cutter Boley-led offense, and whoever the offensive coordinator is for Kentucky, their defense, I mean, you're talking about like the 86 Bears? Pretty much the same. Their defense is pretty good. Now, vulnerable to the outside run, surprisingly enough. Now, I don't know what Kentucky's stats are as far as their running game and how good they are at running game. It's I don't know where they are on the leaderboard, if they're known to be like this juggernaut running team. But they ran the ball pretty effectively. South Carolina, like I said, had to load the box. They were putting 7, 8 guys in the box very consistently, which made it hard. But they were pretty susceptible to the outside run. Their defensive backs had a really hard time getting off blocks.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know the Kentucky personnel well enough to say, man, their wide receivers are the greatest blocking wide receivers to ever play the sport of football. But like the defensive backs for South Carolina could not get off blocks. So a lot of those plays that LSU does like to do, the little pop passes behind the line of scrimmage and locking up blocks with the receivers, we always say those are really hard blocks to maintain. Kentucky did it consistently locked up guys in the secondary, and they just couldn't get off.
Yeah, I know you saw the South Carolina edge rushers flash as well, and Stewart, preseason All-American.
Which one? You know what number he is? I wasn't looking at names, and I wasn't comparing my film, but I know number 12 and number 9, they showed up on film a lot. They popped. And I got a lot of different clips that I kind of –
that's intriguing because he's 6.
Huh?
Stewart 6.
Okay, 6
Dylan
popped
Stewart,
as well. I didn't see him as much, but 6 popped as well. But number 12 popped. Now I'll show some film a little bit later on in the show. Gotta pick and choose which clips I want to show because I'll show some film today, show some film tomorrow. We're figuring out how we want to kind of spread that out. And I do want to get into some more games. I'll get into some more games outside Kentucky today. But yeah, South Carolina. They are 3-2. Win against Virginia Tech. Win against South Carolina State. A 31-7 loss at home versus Vandy. Loss at Missouri, 29-20. And then a win, of course, their latest game, Kentucky, 35-13, which was a lot closer game, except for those, fumble, sack, fumble, touchdown, pick 6. So there we go. South Carolina. Not initially super impressed.